Hello, everyone. My name is Ian Garcia. This is Devotional Criticism, and welcome back to the New Movie Diary. This is a cinema criticism series in which I review recent, new, and up and coming film releases and attempt to give you the straight facts about them, in my humble opinion. And before I was snowed in on this blessed extra long weekend, I managed to see H is for Hawk, the only new interesting film I could get to this week on account of the whole I'm still trying to not quickly repeat January horror slop. I'll see the Bone Temple eventually, I'll see it, but has anyone seen Night Patrol? I want to see Night Patrol. You know about Night Patrol? It's got Justin Long and Freddie Gibbs in it. I have to see it. Hood vampire movie. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Anyway, H is for Hawk is an adaptation of a 2014 memoir of the same name by the writer and naturalist Helen MacDonald. In the memoir, MacDonald details their journey of training a Eurasian goshawk, an absolutely beautiful and fantastic to observe kind of mid-large predatory bird that the non-ornithology enthusiast might mistake for a falcon. No, as the film adaptation is keen to transfer to the script, it's a hawk, not a falcon. That's like seeing an attack helicopter and calling it a falcon jet. It's a magnificent creature, and it's perhaps not unheard of that it would serve as the subject of some eccentric English academics' extracurriculars and books, except that H is for Hawk more broadly deals with what MacDonald's experiences training and caring and ultimately hunting with the hawk were. Names the hawk Mabel. It all occurs against the backdrop of grief over the sudden passing in 2007 of father, the renowned photojournalist Alastair MacDonald. This adaptation is directed by seasoned British TV director Philippa Lowthorpe, co-written by Lowthorpe and Emma Donoghue, the latter you might recognize as a playwright and novelist, as well as being the writer of the 2015 Brie Larson breakout Room, that historical and biodramatic background seeming to translate very well to dramatizing H's for Hawk as, if not necessarily fantastically unpredictable or honestly even necessarily consistently natural or tactful in terms of how it kind of does that thing of spelling out its emotional arc, this progression through the story of fascination mixed with deep despair. I mean, you don't always have to be tactful just because it is more or less basically just kinda consistent, reliable, carry on in your blustery, misery, British ephemeral drama. It's a mom movie. I don't want to be stereotypical. Maybe you got a lot of dads out there that like the exact kinds of movies Fackham Hall was parodying too, but you know what I mean if I say that one of my first thoughts within a few minutes of H is for Hawk when star Claire Foy portraying MacDonald is just beginning training Mabel and starting to take her hood off. One of the first distinct thoughts or feelings about H is for Hawk that I had, besides that it was just kind of this consistent, well-shot, lively, stylized, but not too obtrusive, proper, melancholy, but somehow still stiff upper lip British drama. It just got to the point that I was thinking, man, Mom is gonna love this movie. I know that it seems like there might be kind of an upswing in these sorts of animal-based adult contemporary movies for the suburb close to a strip mall indie theater that programs all the hits for the NPR set. But if you're gonna recommend one movie to that person in your life that really actually does really love animals and doesn't just want to see them used as cute props in a human story, but want to see a film by filmmakers who clearly maintained that keen eye for respecting the inherent naturalistic beauty of this animal, this extraordinary creature. Honestly, some of the best things Donoghue and Lowthorpe's script does is do that sort of fun education, edutainment thing of contriving a moment where you can deploy information about the meaning or scientific explanation of what this bird is thinking and feeling, and how it's doing that apart from how we think and feel. This is a movie for the sorts of sensual people who want movies about animals to be as much about the animals as the people. And I guess it isn't just the sort of casual, ephemeral British factor that I say makes it such a mom movie. I honestly found a kind of personal resonance with this story about this person following in academia, a career in the study and the pursuit of preservation and maintenance of the natural world, keeping it to exist only so that we can keep beholding it and learning about it. The film dramatizes the sort of critical relationship between MacDonald and her father as this only purely non-judgmental one that can completely relate to. How intimately that seems to be connected to the late MacDonald's own permanent fascination with the natural world and his insistence on keeping himself fascinated with it. It really resonated with me as kind of the child of exactly that sort of person, albeit neither of my folks were world-renowned photojournalists, but I think my mom and dad took me on just the right amount of trips to the park that made it so that when I would see a drama like H's for Hawk, that the primary thing that would strike me was how excellently simple the joy of looking upon the natural world was in the movie. Like, me and my family were never adopting and training hawks or anything, but you know, we were raising some painted turtles and some smaller snapping turtles and frogs and stuff like that, keeping butterflies, you know. It's not exactly the same, but it's kinda the same. With the hawk as a central natural subject, there is just such an elemental contentment that then turns to joy the more you're allowed to feel yourself alone and safe in the presence of it. Claire Foy's own performance in handling the hawk in question, the fact that Lothorpe basically spares nothing in terms of conveying how unique and fascinating the process of training the hawk itself is. But because it is a film study, the spotlight inevitably gravitates away from Foy herself to where Foy is constantly looking, where her gaze goes, which is also appropriately to the hawk. And we get to immediately understand why this beautiful, but also frankly frightening animal could serve as a project for solace. There's something so cleansing about how much time Lothorpe takes to appreciate even the most minute details of the hawk's anatomy, to really subtly push the camera to maximize our greater fascination with trying to assess the hawk in the contradictory terms that MacDonald themselves would understand it. You are drawn in by the beauty of the hawk, but as becomes a crucial dramatic reveal, but I can't help stating the obvious here because I don't think it will hurt the enjoyment of the movie, hawks are non-affectionate. Even as domesticated birds, you can only train them to be fed, to enjoy themselves, and to hunt for their placation and amusement, but the hawk will never be more than pleased or amused by you. It will never love you back or even have a fond connection to you like some even birds can. There's this excellent synergy this adaptation achieves, and really not in very many overstated ways. There are some clunky bits of expository stuff and execution of themes as far as this journey of processing grief through wonder, but there's like this layered unity of how we are educated to view the hawk, how the process of close filmmaking inevitably beautifies and mystifies the hawk. And then between those things, Foy as MacDonald as a kind of interlocutor who is so grief-stricken that they come to embody that contradiction. They are being drawn in by escapist wonder because they're smart enough and deep-feeling enough to really appreciate how beautiful the hawk is, but the same natural world that fills them with so much sense of spiritual purpose is the same one that says, no, death is constant. Denying me, the hawk, my will to live by killing, like you say, is like telling a child that they can't play. There's this permanent sense of coldness, no matter how warm or beautiful the animal appears on the extraordinary, magnificent, spectacular surface of it. Honestly, it's kinda giving "Take me in, tender woman." I'm not gonna do it, no more singing. Besides, MacDonald is non-binary, so it's more like it would be Take me in, tender they them, take me in for heaven's sake. Oh, did I not mention this is therefore a kind of stealth queer movie? Yeah, queer hawk movie. Who ordered queer hawk movie dressed up as proper British tearjerker? No one? Well, we got it, and I think that's pretty cool. I gotta just hand it to Lothorpe, as well as cinematographer Charlotte Bruce Christensen, an excellent DP to have as an eye for simply looking in her own right, and then editor Nico Lunin. They really pull together such precision-tight depictions of the hawk in action, the hawk hunting. I feel bad for you if you thought F1 was worth any kind of Best Picture nomination by anybody, because the hawk action in this movie is better than Top Gun 2. Just the first successful hunt with Mabel took my breath away faster than any bespoke choreography in a deluge of brawler martial arts movies we might have had in the last year. I don't know. I'm snowed in. I'm still living in esoteric Christian white nationalist hell. But Ages for Hawk is at least giving me optimism for a new year in movies, at least. It's not going all the way into early bird favorite territory like The Mother and the Bear, but it's definitely a fine, deftly observed film at its heart, blurring a tender line between human character study and nature documentary. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so much for sticking through this whole video, and please don't be a stranger to shouting out in the comments, what did I get right? What did I get wrong? Otherwise, please share, like, subscribe, bell, yada yada. My name is Ian Garcia. This is Devotional Criticism, and this was the new movie diary. I'm gonna catch you guys next time.